Hello, and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of the Tenkar's Tavern, and of course, don't forget the Tenkar's Tavern Discord server, where we record all of our fireside chats. So, what's on the topic today? Little bit of interesting news. For once, I actually found interesting news on Emerald. I shouldn't say for once. It's a rare opportunity to find something interesting and newsworthy on Enworld's site at this point. They don't seem to dig very deep. But there's something going on at Wizards of the Coast. There is an opening, a new job opportunity. For what position, you might ask? Well, a job as Wizards of the Coast community manager. Don't they already have a community manager? Sure they do. Satine Phoenix. But her contract expires, I guess, at the end of the day, March 31st. I'm recording this on March 30th. So, end of the day tomorrow, Sunday, March 30th, her contract comes to an end. Now, I have a serious question, and I'm going to ask the audience here, but would you take a job that has a 1-year contract, which probably is going to require you to relocate unless you're a Seattle native? Would you take a job that is going to just be a single year? You want a job like this, you want to have a little job security. Figure if I do a good job, I'll be there for at least a couple of years. Now, I don't know if this means that when she took the job, she knew it was one and done, or she took the job and was hoping to get renewed and they didn't renew it for one reason or the other. I don't know. I'm not going to make guesses on that. I'm sure some of you all can. This is what she apparently said on Twitter. Such an amazing year with my friends at Witches of the Coast. As my contract comes to an end on April 1st, a space for a new community manager opens up. I encourage you to apply, you, Seattle-based heart full of compassion and passion, to bring the community together. And she goes on. Satine Phoenix is going to move on to other stuff. She has her Patreon. She'll be doing webinars, working on a book, yada, yada, yada. Everybody that leaves one of these positions always is like, well, I left because, but in any case, this is what's up on Wizards of the Coast website. This is what their, I don't know, their statement as to what the job entails. For decades, Wizards of the Coast has connected people around the world through play and imagination with core games that have defined their genres. Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. We want to offer more ways to connect and play as the company grows, and that's where you come in. We are seeking a community manager to oversee the Dungeons and Dragons community. This self-starter should have a passion for and experience in games community management, tabletop and video games, which includes building communities, establishing community voice, customer engagement, and community leadership. A day in the life as a community manager. Establish community best practices for Dungeons and Dragons brand. Cultivate a D&D community that is open, inviting, and positive. Engage the community daily in discussions of product and lifestyle around a game. Identify and mitigate community concerns as they emerge. Be the champion for the players and keep the company honest to its players' needs. Take consumer insights and forge them into actions and strategies. Track effectiveness of community engagement and express them in ongoing reports. What you bring. This is the requirements. This is your background that you need to take this position, which apparently is going to be a 1-year contract. Maybe there's an option to renew. Maybe there isn't. I guess you'll have to find out. Bachelor degree required, ideally in a marketing or communications discipline. Okay. 3 to 7 years of experience in games community management, tabletop or video game. Now, this is interesting because that's going to be a really limited pool of people. Okay, I don't know if Satine Phoenix had that background. Uh, I think she's best known in gaming because of her connection with Zach Smith. He certainly got her noticed within gaming, and I'm just one. I'm not even going to go there. Um, Corporate experience, an absolute must. Okay. Experience in AAA gaming brands recommended. So now, again, your potential pool. This isn't for you or me or anybody listening to this podcast. You're probably not going to fit these requirements. Experience in team leadership and high level community strategy. Hands on experience in community building. In depth knowledge of all emerging social platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Reddit forums, and Discord. When I read something like this, and again, looking at this contract for Satine right now, and actually, I shouldn't say it's 1-8. Well, yeah, she said she had an amazing year. So, yeah, it's one and done. They're asking for an awful lot of qualifications and apparently little guarantee to go along with that. 1-year contract is just that, a 1-year contract. Rach used to, she worked in a grant funded program at one point, and that's actually right around, we were, when we were dating and engaged, she started working at a hospital, and it was a grant funded program, and the grant had a 3-year window. And yes, it could get renewed, but if it didn't get renewed, didn't matter how well you did your job, it wasn't going to continue. A lot of times, in that case, it was just a new grant to fund something similar under a new title, and apply for your job again. So, but you got paid well. You got paid well for these limited contracts, and I don't know what the pay is on the Wizards of the Coast community manager position, but I can't imagine that Satine is going to make the same monies she was making working for Wizards of the Coast in a high-profile position as she will working on her own private projects. And that's just another comment in general. When you see people leave these large companies with an exception, it's always, oh, I've got this, this, and this I want to do. And it's like a lawyer putting out their own shingle as opposed to working for a larger law firm. The money is not putting out your own shingle. Your money is getting into a larger law firm and getting known, getting cases, earning your spot. With few exceptions, Monty Cook being one of them, you don't leave a larger company and hit the ground running. Just not saying it can't happen. This doesn't often happen. So, yeah, there's a spot open for Woods of the Coast as a community manager. Like I said, it's unlikely that anyone that I know or that you know would qualify for this position. Firstly, since it's going to be required, if you don't live in Seattle, it's going to require relocation. And who's relocating for a job that's a 1-year contract? I don't see it. In any case, folks, interesting stuff. Thought you might enjoy it. I don't know if you heard a little noise in the background here, but I'm guessing there's a game at, I'm about to say Shea Stadium, Citi Field with the Mets. And when that happens, they reroute the planes and they tend to fly right over my fucking house. So if you heard the engine in the background at points, that's what it was. So on that note, as always, thank you for listening. Well over 100,000 plays. I am still stunned. Our Discord server is well over 1,800 people on it. I'm further stunned. So thank you all. I really do appreciate everything that you've done, which is supporting this podcast by listening to it, by spreading the word. Can't thank you enough. Be safe. God bless. Roll those dice. And I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.